Welcome back to Brambleberry. So I have this dilemma. I'm trying to put in a food plot out in the back part of our property, and there's no water back there to water, and we're in a drought. But we have rain supposedly coming here in the next few days, but in order to put the seed down, the package it says needs to be damp. So I have an idea. That plus that, although not full because it's way too heavy full for this thing to carry. In fact, I don't know how much it's going to carry. This C-Flow pump hooked up to some hoses and a sprayer, all hooked up to this battery that I have charging. Well, I don't know. First of all, if the battery, I think it's taking a charge. I don't know how well it's going to work though, because it's an old battery. It's been sitting for a while, not used. We used it last season to put as our water supply actually for the camper. So I'm repurposing it this since we have a well now with the pump and all. We don't need to use it. It's just kind of a backup for rainwater. So anyway, I'm going to hook all that up, hopefully, and be able to take it all back to my food plot and water everything down and have actually some pressure from the pump. If the battery doesn't work, then I think I may be able to rig it up to run the pump, actually. I may be able to rig up to run off of a small generator. That'd kind of be overkill, but they have like DC outputs. I've never used those, but maybe it would work for that. I don't know. Hopefully we won't have to go that route, because then we're just burning gas, and the batteries, I don't have to burn gas. What are you doing, kitty cat? What are you doing? Do you find something interesting up there? You gonna help Rudy Dude? Yeah. You always gotta check things out. So the first order of business is to put some water in that thing. So we're gonna do that with our solar well pump. I hear it. While that's filling and the battery is charging, I'm gonna see if I can't get this pump hooked up and get a hose all ready to go. I'm probably gonna try it out here before I take it all back there, because there's a little bit of a trek back there. You might be wondering what all this is. We have a four-wheeler in pieces, which has been a project as of late. I guess I was a glutton for punishment with the backhoe fixing it, so now I'm working on a four-wheeler too. The only thing I'm a little concerned about is that I won't be able to put enough water in this thing for that the side-by-side can carry. I gotta kind of watch. I can hear it settling down some there. Water is super heavy. I don't want to bottom this all out and go over that rough terrain with it. Or even potentially flip it over. I mean, it could get pretty heavy in the back. Just have to watch and see. I probably should calculate. We'll just try it. I'm gonna put an extension on this hose, but we're just gonna try this out right now. Let's get the water on. And I'm still cheap with my connections here, using these old little clamps. Hey, we have power. How about that? I'll take that. Sweet. And the nice thing about this pump is it doesn't run constantly. It just kicks on whenever I need to spray some water. Nice. Now we'll get to see if I can get this to the back. I only filled it up maybe to there. I'm just a little worried. I probably could put more in it, but it's already kind of squatting and I have to go up a steep hill. I don't want to like roll over backwards or something silly. Well, I got all the stuff, I think. Now I just gotta make room for me. There's a little room. Fingers crossed that we don't flip this thing over or something stupid. I don't know if you've ever transported water before, but generally speaking, you're better off with a full tank because the water doesn't slosh around and move you all over the place. So what I'm doing here is kind of opposed to that idea. But I know one of those things full is way too much water for this thing to be able to safely handle. So we're just gonna take it easy. Yep, definitely got a load on. Sorry about that. Here it's sloshing around back in there. And I feel it moving me a bit. These steep hills are what I'm worried about coming up here. I'm also kind of worried about, there's a few spots here that I could probably bottom out on, and I don't know. Go for it. Here's my first choice. I have steep hill, or I have less steep hill, but it's sideways. I think sideways, less steep hill. Well, I made it past that one, just barely. Here's the next potential problem. This is a big dip right in here. When I'm riding the side-by-side normally, the bottom drags a bit back there where the hitch is, so we're probably gonna experience that. We'll see what happens. Well, I made it, but just barely. I'll tell you one thing, I'm not putting any more water than that in it because there was some points there coming around like weird, like when I came around this, well, you can't see it, but when I came around into this clearing here, it's kind of at an angle, and it just was not steering because the front end was lifting up a bit. So that's what I was afraid of. That's why I didn't put any more water in it. So if you do this, just make sure you're careful with that part of it. It would have been better if I get my truck back here, but I can't get my truck back here, so I had to use that. So yesterday, I think it was 2 days ago. Well, you don't really care, do you? I cleared all this out with the tractor, and this is what I got some throw and sow seed, I guess you call it. So, but I need to wet this down out here first. Up here in this big tree, when we bought this property, there was already a tree stand up here. So I don't know if I'm going to use that one, but I'm going to use this tree because it's a nice big tree, and probably either move it over to this side or bring my 2-man stand and put it up on this side so I can have a view of all of this and maybe around out that way some. I guess I could leave both up if 2 people wanted to hunt, they could. I don't know about that part. I haven't got that far yet. We got to water and sow some seed first if we're going to hunt at all. Hey, look at that dust. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get enough water on here to do any good. And we're finally out of water. Well, as you can tell, I didn't put water there, and I did there. This bit out here looks like it's dry, but it's not. You can see way off on the edges out there where it's still dusty. But I was able to get pretty much this whole area here. I didn't go way far down, but I'm pretty happy with that. And I actually got to go over it probably 3 or 4 times with that amount of water. I was afraid that I was gonna have to go back and get more water, but that seems like plenty for what I wanted to accomplish here. So I'd say that was a pretty good solution. Now it's time to put out the seed before my daylight's all gone. And just so you know, so we're all clear, I've never done any of this before. So, I mean, I guess you could look at my video and go, it's a how-to, but maybe not, you know. There's probably better ways of doing this. What I call this stuff? Throw and grow. It's, this bag has a 1/4 acre. It's got ryegrass, clover, and forage rape. So, hopefully the deer will think it's yummy. It says to put down fertilizer and stuff. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna try it and see what happens. And then, as I was saying, it says to make sure the ground is moist. So the situation we're in here, we're in a drought, and that's the reason why I'm doing this. But we have in like 2 days from now, the remnants of a hurricane are supposed to be coming up through here from the Gulf. I'm hoping that'll give this a really good water, and it'll be enough for some of this to come up at least. And we'll just see what happens. It'll be a big experiment. In case you're wondering, that's what the stuff looks like. Well, you may not be able to tell, but it's getting dark out here. So I'm gonna wrap this video up. I got my seed all put out, all down through there. It'll be interesting in some of these dry spots back here to see how it does. I think it said something about running it over maybe with an ATV or something. They kind of set it in the ground. I may do that still. Just run back and forth a few times. I'm kind of worried though also about picking it all up on my tires and taking it out of here. But I guess I put enough out that probably won't be a problem. Anyway, we're gonna end the video here, and I'll have to do an update, you know, later on after the stuff starts growing, hoping and praying that it does, and that we get our tree stand put up out here and hopefully get a deer this year. So if you watch this far, I appreciate you. Subscribe, like, all those good things. We do have a Patreon channel now. If you're interested in that sort of thing, you want to support us doing projects and stuff on the homestead, we would love that. There is a little bit of extra content over there if you do that. We're still developing some of that, so hopefully we'll, as time progresses, get some more added content on there for you to watch. And anyway, either way, I appreciate you watching, and I hope you have a blessed day.